In today's video, I'm going to share how to build a side hustle. This is something I've worked on for years, and I'm very fortunate now to be in the position where I can do it full time. Now, why is it important to build a side hustle? Well, to be candid, we just never know what's going to happen. You could be a top performing sales rep and your company could make some changes, get acquired, and you find yourself, out of a job, or maybe they change your comp plan or raise your quota. We're seeing this now with layoffs, and we're seeing a lot of turmoil in the sales industry. And I think it's just important to hedge your bets. And, whether you do it through real estate investments or whether you do it through actually having a side income product or service, I think it's just a smart move not to have all your eggs in one basket from an income perspective. So I'm going to share 7 steps to building your side hustle. Let's get into it right now. So first and foremost, step number 1 is you have to identify your unique differentiator. In other words, there's so many people out there. There's so many influencers and there's so many courses and coaches. What is unique about you? And a good place to start when you think about your differentiator is, what do you know really well? What do you do really well? And what are some of the things you've been through in order to be able to be qualified to teach that particular subject? So for me, for example, I know business to business tech sales very well. I've done it for 19 years, and that's the core of my program. Another thing that I've been through is I went from transactional selling to strategic selling, and it took me missing my number when I became a strategic seller over and over again in order to learn how to do it at the right way. So that's kind of like the stories you've been through that are going to resonate with other people, that are going to be relatable, which leads us to step 2. Who is your ideal customer profile, or ICP? And when we think about an ideal customer profile, ideally you want to talk to the prior version of yourself a few years ago, the person who needed help, where you wish this version of you was able to talk to them when they were going through their biggest challenges. So when I think about my ICP, I think about the person who is trying to sell software, SaaS or enterprise SaaS. Maybe they've had really good experience in sales or confident, but they don't know how to sell SaaS, and they've been failing on their own and really are at a loss as to what they need to do differently. They're a hard worker, but they're not working very strategically or not very smart. That was me. And that was the reason I was missing my goals. And I wish I would have had a program similar to what I created at the time, so I could have taken it versus learning the hard way and missing quota 3 years in a row. So you really kind of want to talk to the version of yourself, the previous version of yourself that needs help with whatever it is that you're going to focus on. That's step 2. Step 3 is you have to figure out what it is that you want to teach. And this ties into step 1 and 2. So what are the things that you know really well? And what are the things that your ideal customer profile needs to learn? So I'll show you an example of this with my own program. And there are 3 things that I teach specifically. One of them is mindset, right? So I had to learn how to maintain a positive mindset amidst a lot of self-doubt and a lot of imposter syndrome that I was struggling with. So I am qualified to teach that because I've been through a lot of what I coach on. The second thing is habits, knowing that I had gone through a period of time where I was dependent on Adderall. And when I got sober, I had to get off of Adderall as part of my sobriety. And so I had to learn how to focus and adopt very healthy habits, since I couldn't rely on the medicine anymore. And then the third thing is the selling skills. I talked about that, strategic selling skills around delivering powerful presentations and stories. So what you really want to do for step 3 is identify what it is that you want to teach that really hits upon the core things that you do really well. And you want to structure them in a way that's digestible, which leads us to step 4 is, what is the curriculum and the content that you're going to teach? So when we talk about curriculum and content, what I'm talking about is, how are you going to structure it? So this is my curriculum, for example. So it starts with mindset because that's the foundation for success. And within that, you want to have a module. Think of a module as the general theme or the general topic. And then the lessons are the individual lessons inside of that. So why is mindset important? Finding your why, what needs to change, how to get yourself to an all-in state, living and practicing integrity every day. These are all things that fall under the mindset module. So same thing with habits. You look at all of the different areas, right? And each of these modules has the different lessons that you are going to teach, because you can't just teach this one long 2-3 hour lecture. It's going to go in one ear and out the other. So you want to break it into subcategories or lessons that are digestible and that are actionable. So you can see with my curriculum, I start with mindset, then pivot to habits, and then I get into selling skills. So that's all the things from fundamentals to territory management, messaging, prospecting, impactful conversations, discovery, storytelling, and closing. And then I have a couple bonus modules there. So that's how to structure the content. It takes a lot of time. It's not something that I just came up with. It honestly unraveled over the course of a year or two. But it takes think of like writing a book. How would you structure a book? What are the chapters? How does it build upon? That's the same way you're going to structure your particular program. And so that's really step 4 is the curriculum and the content. Now, step 5 is the process of how are you going to deliver the content. Now, this is really the same as basically asking what is your product going to be? Is it going to be a course? Is it going to be coaching? Is it going to be a book? Is it going to be an ebook? Perhaps it could be live events or seminars, or maybe it's a mastermind. There's all kinds of ways to deliver the content. And that is basically how you monetize whatever it is that you're selling. That's the product that you're going to purchase, or that's the product that you're going to sell. And then when you talk about delivering the content, here's what it looks like. So a couple things. Number one is, what is the actual product? So in my case, you can see the product. There are 3 versions of the product. One is an online training portal. That's what I call my bronze coaching membership. So the product is a 1-year subscription to access the content. And there's 3 levels within that product that can access. For people who just want to purchase their own portal and they just want to receive the content and they don't need coaching, bronze is what would be the best option. But for people who want live coaching, who want access to me and are okay doing it in a group setting where they can be around their peers, where they want accountability, where they want to be part of a cohort, that silver membership is the next level. And then those that want to have live events and private coaching with me and have that one-on-one relationship would be gold. So the way I've structured it is a combination of online course, a mastermind in the group setting, and then private coaching and live events for gold members. So that's something you want to think about when you are thinking about how you're going to deliver. You might want to just start with a course, for example, or maybe you start with one-on-one coaching. I didn't start with this full platform. I just started with one-on-one coaching, and then I found that I couldn't scale myself, which is why I built out the online product and I built out the group program as well, because it scales much better. So that's one thing. And then finally, the part of deliverable that you're also going to consider is, what is the platform that you're going to host everything on? You need a place for all this to live. So for me, I use Kajabi, which is a great tool for hosting websites and also courses and membership sites. So that's why I chose, this is one of the best platforms out there for that. And this is where everything lives. So going back to that mindset module, this is where all the content's stored. So the workbook that people will do the exercises is here. The actual videos. So I'd have to go out and record all of these videos, and people here access the videos and then they get my content. So you're going to have to think about where does the content live. So for the mindset modules, there's 26 different video lessons and exercises to go through just for the mindset module. And then you package that out into, you package that out into the whole course. It becomes much more robust. So looking at this, that's just one example, but all of the content is living here in this particular program. It's in Kajabi, and that makes it really easier. The other thing that lives here is the checkout page. So being able to purchase the program online, I chose Kajabi because I could actually have an all-in-one solution where when they check out, they have access to the portal and they have access to all of the group recordings and everything that's in there. Another cool thing is it has the marketing capabilities. So rather than using MailChimp or third-party marketing, I can do the marketing and segment my members for upsells and cross-sells inside of Kajabi as well. So I was looking for simplicity, and that's why I chose that platform. But there are plenty of platforms out there besides Kajabi. There's Thinkific, there's Teachable, there's certainly other places. But ideally, you want to, in my opinion, choose something that's purpose-built for hosting masterminds or courses or online content. And then the next step when you're talking about building your program is we want to look at, after we know where to deliver it and what product we're going to use, the next step is to start teaching to build an audience. You see, if you have this great product but no one knows you, then no one's going to buy it. But if you can build an audience now by teaching the subject matter that's going to be in the course, what'll happen is people will start to follow you. You also need to think about, where does the audience live? Like, are they on Instagram? Are they on TikTok? Are they on LinkedIn? In my case, the audience lives on LinkedIn because it's business to business tech sales account executives is who I'm targeting, right? That's my ICP. So that's where I post a lot of content. I don't have an Instagram business page or a TikTok account, right? I'm on YouTube and I'm on LinkedIn. Those are my channels, and newsletter. So, I teach via those particular channels. And I've been teaching, honestly, I started teaching in 2019. That's when I started putting myself out there and teaching content, well before I had a product or service. So 2019, I was teaching on Instagram, didn't work great. Then I took it to LinkedIn and YouTube, and that started to build an audience to the point where when I launched my product last year in 2021, it sold out within 2 days because I had already built such a great audience. So that's why step 6 is before step 7, which is building the product, because you got to actually have an audience who's going to buy the product. Otherwise, you're going to have to run a bunch of ads and spend a lot of money to get your stuff out there, which you could do, but I prefer doing it organically and not having to deal with the world of ads. So if you already have an audience, by the time you build the product and release it, they're going to be starving for more, because just watching a video or seeing, some text or content online is one thing, but actually people don't pay for information. Information's free for everybody. What people pay for is application. How are you going to help me apply this information to my particular product or service? So that's what I did. It worked really, really well. I did over 7 figures my first full year with this approach. And I will tell you, it's not easy. And I didn't do it on my own, which is the main thing I want to share. Is like, the main key to my success is I get help. I still get help. I'm in a mastermind for coaches, helping them build their team out, which is what I'm doing right now. I always try to learn from people who've done it before rather than reinventing the wheel. For these 7 steps, I had the help of many different people, but the main group that helped me is a group called Brand Builders Group. So Brand Builders Group, their whole purpose is about helping people build that audience and be able to really monetize, their knowledge and information. And anyone who ever comes to me and says, hey, I want to build out my brand or become a coach like you, I send them to Brand Builders Group, because that's honestly how I did it. And what they do is, not only do they help you figure out what is your message, who's your audience, but they also actually help with, they did my website, for example, they did my logos, even the Zoom background that you're seeing behind me, that Ian Cognac Sales Coaching and that nice emblem with the IK, they helped me with that. They did the copywriting on my site. So they're not just giving you the idea, they're actually doing it with you or doing it for you, depending on the program. So These guys offer a free strategy session. I would highly recommend, if you're interested in exploring this, go on a strategy session, and they can tell you how they can support you in this journey. Don't do it on your own. It's going to take a lot longer. It's going to be a lot more costly in the long run, because it'll take you years instead of a more consolidated time frame. So for me, again, I started with them in 2019 and worked with them in 2020. By the time I launched my product, it sold out very quickly. So this is a link to their strategy page. I'll put it at the bottom of this video as well. But just make sure you fill out the form, and they'll contact you directly. And if they do ask, how did you hear about their company, just put my name in there. I am a partner with them, full transparency. I'm part of the program, and I send a lot of people there because they do a great job. So you can put my name there, and they will take care of you and hopefully get you started. So I'll leave you with this, okay? If you're going to spend a ton of time building your product without an audience, you're probably not going to have a very successful launch. But if you build your audience now and get a following while you're slowly kind of building out your product or service, it's going to lead to a much more successful launch. So that's why I'll leave you with this. If you build it, they will come, but only if they know who you are. So the number one tip of all of this is start now. If you don't have a product or service or anything else, just start teaching, start sharing what you know, start posting, put yourself out there. There's only goodness that's going to come from it. So I hope this video is helpful in terms of how to start and build your your product, your service, whatever it is that you're trying to do, your side hustle. And if you do have questions, or if you want to reach out to me for anything, just reach out on DM or reply back to this email. And again, I encourage you to talk to Brand Builders Group, because they help more people do this than anyone else. And they've done a great job helping me get this far. So I'll see you guys later, and have a great day.